Hey everyone, Forrowata Live back here with a Mass Mutations video about gigantic creatures, facts and guesses. So what do we know about gigantic creatures? They're the new 2-card creatures appearing in Mass Mutations. We've seen some of them in reveal streams, we've found out more about a few of them over the internet. Are there more? What could they be? Let's get into it and have a look at some of these creatures. So first up, probably the one that we've all seen already, Deus Illness. It's a Saurian 2-part gigantic creature. It's a mutant. Play, capture all of your opponent's amber, deal 5 damage to an enemy creature. And it's got a fight reap ability. Move 1 amber from Deus Illness to the common supply, deal 2 damage to each enemy creature. So some powerful effects. And if you've not seen how these cards are played, there's 2 parts to each of these gigantic creatures. You get both of them in your deck, and also I think we're expecting an It's Coming card which helps you find one half of the gigantic creature from your discard pile or your deck. So 3 kind of cards out of your 12 for this house are dedicated to your gigantic creature. You've got to have both cards in your hand to play it. Once you play it, it becomes a single creature once it's on the battle line. And they got some really powerful effects, and I guess that's the trade-off. Going to be quite hard to get into play. You might be chaining yourself for a few turns, holding one of the cards, waiting for the other one to turn up. But if you can pull it off, powerful play effects, and if you can keep them on the board for more than a turn or two, even more powerful fight reap effects. So Deus Illness here, the Saurian one, giant dinosaur, really cool concept. I think I've said in some of my previous videos, you know, I get it thematically, these are brilliant. I love the gigantic creature idea. Competitively, they're probably going to be tough to be competitive. You're not always going to get them to trigger, you're not always going to get them into play, and there's plenty of easy ways for your opponent to take them out of action, get them off the board pretty much straight away with a pretty simple card. So you know, there's pros and cons to them. I think the consensus in the community seems to be that they aren't really going to cut it in terms of competitive decks, but they are going to be pretty fun for casual players and fun to get out. And if you do pull it off, like I say, you're going to feel pretty good. Art-wise, yeah, epic, really lovely cards. I like the way they've done this. I like the way the 2-part cards work. So Deus Illness is the one we've seen quite a bit of. It's in one of the print and play decks that you can get from the FFG website, so you can actually now print off from a PDF a few Mass Mutation decks. I've done some preview videos of those decks, one of which has Deus Illness in it, so you can have a go at playing one of these, see how it feels to you, whether you enjoy it, whether you're finding it good or not. Now that's the gigantic creature we've seen officially on stream, and we've heard from FFG that there'll be more, but also that not every house is going to have them. So let's have a look at some of the other ones we know a little bit about. First up, Logos Ultra Gravitron. Now, apologies for the quality of the image. This is one I've got off the internet. There have been a few people out there finding images, finding information about different cards, and this is the best one I've found for Ultra Gravitron. It is a Logos card. It's a robot. You have to have 2 halves of it to play, like with Deus Illness. Play effect: archive the top 5 cards of your deck. So that's pretty handy. Pretty handy to be able to see what they are and put them in your archive. Fight reap: discard a card from your archive. If you do, purge a creature and resolve its bonus icons as if you just played it. So you're putting 5 cards into your archive. Some of them are going to be good, some of them are going to be bad. I guess what you've then got is a load of ammunition, effectively 5 cards of ammunition to use Ultra Gravitron's fight reap effects. Either you can pull those cards out of your archive and play them as normal, or if you've got the ability to put other cards in the archive, maybe you can draw those 5 cards out and put something in on a later turn. But if you start to discard those cards from your archive, purging a creature, that could be your enemy's creature, resolving its bonus icons as if you just played it, could be pretty powerful. We've seen in some of the sample decks cards with 2 or 3 pips on, bonus icons on as they call them officially, and if you've got a couple of ambers, a capture, maybe a draw, resolving those could be worth more than the card is to you. So it's going to be a little bit dependent on what you put in the archive, how valuable those cards are. Are they key cards from your deck? What cards your opponent has out on the field, or what you have out on the field that you might be able to purge. Overall, I'm probably preferring the effects of Deus Illness. I think this is potentially good, but it's also potentially rubbish. It could be a total waste of time, and if you've just spent quite a few turns holding onto cards, chaining yourself in order to get both parts of this, and then you either get your kind of key cards in the archive that you're never going to discard, or there's nothing really out on the battle line to purge that's worth it, it's going to be a bit disappointing. So that's Ultra Gravitron, and there's another card that we also know a little bit about. So this is Niffle Con. This is the untamed giant creature, and you can see this has come from a Polish deck that's been revealed and again taken off the internet. So it's a mutant, it's a Niffle. Again, need both halves of it to play. Search your deck and discard pile for all Niffle creatures, reveal them and put them into your hand. And then it has a Fight Reap effect. Destroy a friendly Niffle. If you do, deal 3 damage to a creature, steal 1 amber, and destroy an artifact controlled by your opponent. So I think I like this more than Ultra Gravitron. If you have this in a deck where you've got a decent number of Niffle creatures, and they're back in Mass Mutations, so if you've got a decent number of them, and you can play this, yep, you could put a whole load of creatures in your hand, play them straight out onto deck, and then next turn you've got that ability to destroy one of them, deal 3 damage, steal an amber, destroy an artifact. So sometimes it's going to be dependent if your opponent has creatures out that you want to deal that damage to. Do you want to get the steal? Is there an artifact you really need to destroy? Again, I think to me it's not as powerful as Deus Illness. 3 damage can take out most easy things, but you know, if you've got a Niffle Ape, you can just attack with it, you can just fight with it. Stealing an amber, yep, that's handy, but it's only 1. Maybe if it was 2, this would be a bit better. Destroying an artifact, great to have artifact control, pretty complicated way to get it. And you know, if your opponent doesn't have any key artifacts or doesn't have any artifacts in play, it's totally wasted. So it's a big creature. Again, the artwork's really good, love the artwork. Bit unsure whether the abilities it has, the play effects and Fight Reap effects, are actually powerful enough to justify the hassle of getting it out onto the battle line and into play. So those are the 3 creatures that we actually know about. What about the other houses? So we've got 4 more houses in Mass Mutations that we haven't seen much about, and this is where it's just guesswork and my ideas and what would really work thematically. So Sanctum, for me, the obvious choice, Medieval Knights, would be dragons. Sanctum, dragons. I guess it could have been something playing off the kind of Giselheart snake theme, but it doesn't seem to be looking that way. That's come in as a leader now rather than perhaps a giant creature. So for me, you know, we've already got dragons in Keyforge. We've got Khalifi Dragon, we've got Nizak the Forgotten. So we've got dragons. How about a gigantic dragon? How about a mega dragon? That would really work for me in Sanctum. I think I'd love that. I think there could be some great artwork, and you could pretty much go to town on the effects that you have when it comes into play, or Fight Reap effects. The other one to me that, you know, comes up with some obvious ideas, Star Alliance. Maybe they've got a starship, a 2-part starship, gigantic creature. They've got plenty of robots in as creatures already. I think that could be a pretty cool idea, having the 2 halves of a starship. Maybe it's got some orbital bombardment. Who knows what the effects would be when you play it. You've got things like a Way Team as a new creature already. So there's kind of, again, thematically it works. So those are the 2 for me that could have other gigantic creatures. Shadows and Dis, I'm struggling to think what they could be. A gigantic ghost, a giant demon. Yeah, you could go there. Nothing particularly standing out as an obvious choice. So these are the other 4 houses that we don't know anything about. Now, FFG have said not every house is going to have a gigantic creature, so absolutely not guaranteed. And some of the information we've seen on card numbers suggests that actually probably the 3 we've seen are the 3 that there are. There don't seem to be many free slots in the card number list that we're piecing together on the internet at the moment for a gigantic creature to fit in any of these houses. So I guess we'll have to wait and see until Mass Mutation gets released in full to be absolutely sure. For now it does look like just the 3, but I thought I'd share my ideas and guesses about what others could be, and you never know, in future sets these might come into play as well. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you've enjoyed having a look at gigantic creatures in Mass Mutation. Please do like the video, please do subscribe, please check out my other Keyforge videos, and thanks for watching.